Okay, today we're going to go over the 3 most underrated fruits in every single sea inside of Blox fruits, so let's get started with the first sea. Now, when you're looking for a fruit in the first sea to use, what do you want? Well, in my opinion, it's going to be an elemental fruit, so you can't actually be hit by the enemies, and you're also going to want a fruit that does a decent amount of AoE damage, so you can farm easier and level up nice and quickly. Now, you also want a fruit that isn't hard to get inside of the first sea, because your luck is probably not going to be super amazing. So what fruit do I actually recommend for you? Yep, it's going to be the smoke fruit. This fruit is actually super underrated and extremely good. Just because it is a very easy fruit to get doesn't mean it is bad. Let me show you why. The first thing to note about this fruit is that it has full AoE abilities, right? The first ability is this one, and that is actually AoE, so it will hit enemies that are close together. The second one, again, is a massive AoE. You can see there, it is a huge AoE that does quite a lot of damage as well. And the last ability as well is also a huge AoE ability. Perfect fruit for leveling up. Once again, this fruit is also a low-gear type fruit, which means if you're standing next to an enemy, they cannot hit you unless they are using Haki. And the last ability is perfect, and I will show you why this ability is so good. Now, once you actually get to the magma village inside of the first sea, you run into a little bit of a problem with low-gear fruits. The first issue is some of these NPCs here actually have a chance to spawn with Haki. You can see this enemy here has no black parts on his hand, but this enemy over here actually has full blacked out hands. That means he has Haki, and he will be able to hit me even though I have a low-gear fruit. But with this fruit, you actually have an ability called the Smoke Bomber, and it means you can just kind of sit above them and hit them with the smoke ability without even having to fight them. It's also perfect for bosses as well, as the bosses can just not hit you at all because you're in the air and you're hitting them still. So it's like an incredibly OP fruit for the first sea. Okay, so here we are in the second sea. Now, before we start, we're just going to roll for a fruit because, of course, I like to see if my luck is good in these videos. There we go. It's a diamond fruit. Absolute trash. Get out of here. Okay, so once you actually get into the second sea, what are some of the issues that you might run into? Well, first of all, the islands are pretty far apart. It can be kind of annoying traveling around the second sea because it is kind of large, but that's not really your main issue. The main issue is enemies. A lot of the enemies start to have Haki, which means they can just hit you through a low-gear fruit. So elemental fruits are no longer super amazing, and you want to focus more on damage, mobility, and also AoE as well. Those are the most important parts of a fruit in the second sea. Also, the ability to spam the fruit is also really important because spam equals damage. Now, what fruit do I actually recommend to you guys if you are in the second sea? Well, boys, it's pretty simple. I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty simple. The best fruit for the second sea, or the most underrated fruit, should I say, is going to be the sound fruit. Now, I actually don't have this fruit. I tried getting my hands on one before this video, right? But if I go into here, I don't have myself a sound fruit. It's kind of sad. I wish I did, but it's really good. Trust me, this fruit is amazing. I've done a whole noob to pro on sound, and it's an absolutely broken fruit. It's one of the best fruits for leveling up in the entire game, in my opinion. It's super fun to use, and I definitely recommend you get your hands on it. Also, for some reason, like, no one uses the sound fruit. I don't really know why. It's so good. Okay, so here we are in the third sea. Now, when most people go to the third sea, they are going to be using the Buddha fruit, or the Kitsune fruit, or something OP like Magma or Light. But no, I'm going to tell you guys, I've got a fruit for you that is the most broken thing in the entire game. This fruit is literally one of the best fruits for leveling up, but no one uses it for some reason. I don't really know why. And not only for the third sea, this fruit is probably the best leveling up fruit that is the most underrated in every single sea if you're able to get your hands on it. And that is going to be, ladies and gentlemen, the Blizzard fruit. This thing is incredibly broken. It has some of the best AoE in the entire game. It has really good damage, and it even has a flight ability, which is not super great, but also does a lot of damage as well, and can be kind of useful if you do want to use it. But it's also a low-gear fruit, which means enemies without Haki cannot hit you, which is really, really good. But let me show you guys the abilities for this fruit and why I consider it to be so OP. First of all, the best ability on this fruit is going to be the domain expansion. This thing is incredibly OP. It hits absolutely everything, and it is a massive range too. Look how good it is for grouping enemies up. Then I can hit them with the shuriken, I can hit them with this ability like that, and then I can hit them with the last ability like that. This fruit is insane if you learn to actually use the fruit for leveling up. It's really, really good. Oh, did I mention the flight does a ton of damage too? Oh, yeah. It also does that too. It's broken. All right, there you guys have it. That is going to be all the best and most underrated fruits inside of Blox Fruits for every single sea. I hope this video helped. Make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.